Population density. What do I mean by population density? Well, what I mean by it is, here's a formula, by the way. But before we get to the formula, look what I got. I got a picture of Pomona here. The land of Pomona, the beautiful land of Pomona. I love Pomona, by the way. I'm not being sarcastic. After working in Pomona for 15 years, I've grown a love for the city. And here's the city right here. Check it out. Here's the dividing walls here, so to speak. It's in green. You can see where you live. I'm not sure where you... Okay, so notice the irregular shape that Pomona is. Here's up Mills. So we're right here, like on the east end of Mills, huh? Let's see. I think right here, huh? Mills is just right here, so okay. Here's a 10 freeway. Up by Claremont. Look at all these weird shapes here. This is all Pomona. Arrow Highway coming down. Here's the airport, the little airport. Here's Fairplex Drive coming down. We got Valley Boulevard by Cal Poly. There's the shape of Pomona. Now, if I ask you, what is the area of Pomona? We would not use feet, square feet, because square feet would be too small. In other words, a square foot is just a square that's 1 foot all around. How many square feet in Pomona? That's too many. That's too small of a unit. We would use square miles. Imagine a big square where every side's 1 mile long. When we're doing lands like a city or a state or a country, we want to do square miles. Now, population density is you take the area of a piece of land that you're interested in and you're asking yourself about how many people in each square mile. How dense is the population? It just so happens I looked up LA, the city of Los Angeles, and the city of Los Angeles is, check this out, Rodriguez, it's 7,000 people per square mile. So 7,000 people. So you take the square miles of LA, the area of LA, and you take the population, it comes out to be about 7,000 people for every square mile. Pomona, it just so happens that Pomona, if you take a square mile of Pomona, again, here's a square mile, it's 6,580 something people per square mile in Pomona. So it's not as dense as LA, but that's pretty dense. There's other cities that are way more dense, like when you get to Hong Kong, Tokyo, Japan, some of those cities in China. It's a lot of people packed into a small area of space. So it'll be a lot more. You can look that up too, by the way, when you do your Padlet. You pick a city. But that's pretty packed. That's relatively packed. 6,580 people per square mile in the city of Pomona. Now, let's go ahead and write the formula of getting this number. Here's a formula. Ready? So underneath the words population density, go ahead and write this formula. The number of people divided by the area of land, write that down, nice and big. So the title is population density. Population density equals the number of people divided by the area of land. We're only going to do 2 examples of population density today. I'm not going to kill you with too much content. We just started some notes. Here's the title, first formula. Let's do it. Let's start there. So the number of people is a numerator. How many people are there in Pomona? I don't know. We can look that up later. And what's the area of Pomona? I don't know either. But when I did Google it, it came out to be about 6,580 when they did the division. They put the population of Pomona divided by the area of Pomona, and it came out to be 6,580. People per square mile. Notice that. Whoever did the calculation, notice that the numerator, what you just wrote down, the numerator is we're counting people in the numerator, and the denominator, we're counting square miles, miles squared. That's the area. So your final answer will be people per square mile. People is numerator, square miles denominator. Now, here's example 1. Let's figure out South Dakota. Going to write this down. Going to draw a simple picture of South Dakota. It doesn't have to be crazy. The state of South Dakota has a population of about 814,000 people. Close to 1 million in South Dakota, but not that much. Find the population density in people per square mile. I'll give you about a minute to copy that down. Doesn't have to be a Picasso drawing of South Dakota, but you know. So that's the state of South Dakota. What kind of shape does the state of South Dakota look like? It's a rectangle. And Ayala, how do we find the area of a rectangle? What's the formula? Maybe you memorize, I'm not sure. Anybody memorize area of a rectangle? Length times width. So we're going to write that underneath the state of South Dakota. Do we know how many people live in South Dakota, Rodriguez? No? Alvarez, do we know how many people live in the state of South Dakota? Estrada, do we know how many people live in the state of South Dakota? Martinez, do we know how many people live in the state of South Dakota? 814,000 people? Oh. It's okay. It's all right. It's going to be okay. The mission is find the population density. The formula you just wrote down about 5 minutes ago, I think it was 5 minutes ago. Here it is. Population density equals number of people over the area of the land. Number of people is the numerator, area of the land is the denominator. Let's do it. I'm going to write down the formula. I'll do it in shorthand here. Stay with me. PD, population density, equals number of heads, number of people, divided by area. All right, let's do it. We know the numerator, right? So let's plug and chug. What would be the numerator, Ayala? What do you think? All right. Belton, what do you think? What would the numerator be, the number of people? 814, do you agree? That's fine. 814, that's numerator. That's how many people in South Dakota. Boom. Do we know the area, Miss Martinez? Can we figure it out? Yeah. Because look, here's the area formula that Ayala gave us a little while ago, length times width. We know the length of South Dakota is about, look at 380 miles. The width is about 200 miles. Let's find the area of South Dakota. How many square miles in South Dakota? Let's find out. Here we go. Length is 380 times width is 200. Let me get my calc. $380 times 200. 76,000 square miles. Look at this. 76,000 square miles. That's the area of South Dakota. Question so far. We're not done. We just found the area of South Dakota. That's going to be our denominator, ladies and gents. So let me put that in my denominator. So it's coming right here, right? That's the area. So it's 814,000 divided by 76,000. What? Before we calculate it, what are we counting on the numerator again? What are we counting? So this will be people, careful now, per square mile in the bottom. So the final answer is going to be people per square mile. Remember, that's what density means. How many people per square mile? Anybody calculate this puppy, or should I do it on my own? Let's round to the nearest whole number. 814,000 divided by 76,000. We got about 10.7 blah, blah, blah. I'm going to round to the nearest whole human being because we don't really have parts of human beings. There'll be a lot of bloodshed and guts everywhere. So I'm going to round the nearest whole number. That's this number. I look to the right of it. This is 5 or bigger. So it's about 11. So the population density, ready? 11 people per square mile. I'll put MI square. You can write it that way, right? You can write it that way, or you can write it this way. 11 people. I'm giving you options here. 11 people. Look at this. Slash square mile. That's per square mile. Different ways of doing it. Cool? Right up here, huh? Yeah. And I got 10.7 blah, 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 and I round it to the nearest whole number. It's about 11 people. Cool? No big deal. Compare that to Pomona. Pomona was 6,500 people per square mile compared to South Dakota. So that can either mean there's a lot more people in Pomona, or there's just a lot more empty land in South Dakota. It can mean either one. Yeah, South Dakota is way bigger than Pomona, obviously. Well, if we go state by state and you compare the population density, it kind of gives you an idea of how much empty land there is. You know, and South Dakota is a lot of farmland. Okay, that's why it's sparsely populated, big chunks of land with not too many people. Okay, last example. Any questions on example 1? I'm tired to throw that out already. Just one example. Look at that. Last example. I'm going to put number 2. About 1.2 million people live in a circular region with a 6-mile radius. Find the population density in people per square mile. Last example here. Give about a minute to copy that down. I'll use Dodger Blue this time since they're going to win the World Series. Come on in, Miss. Welcome, welcome. Land, this is describing. It doesn't matter. This could be, I don't know, Whittier. This can be Beaumont. I'm not sure where this is. Doesn't matter because as long as we have the formula, we can figure out the population density. As long as we have the area and the amount of people, we're good. So, going to write PD. Population density is number of people over area of the land that we're dealing with. Last example here. Neville, how many people are we dealing with here? Exactly, 1.2 million. That really means 1,200,000. See, this means that. So you know. It's just instead of writing all the zeros, just say 1.2 million. So, because 2/10 of a million is actually 200,000. See, 1.2. This is 2/10 of a million. That's 200,000. So here we go. The numerator then is 1,200,000 over the area. Now, the area they described, they didn't give us the area, but they described the area. Look at this. It's a circular region. And they gave us a radius. Look at 6-mile radius. Okay, so whatever this land is, it's a circular region with a 6-mile radius. Look at this. That's how big the land is. I'm not sure if it's a city. I don't know where this place is on Earth. Doesn't matter. But that's how many heads, that's how many people are in this area. So what's the density now? Here we go. Let's find the area of the circle. Just like in, no, we didn't do one for warm-up today, but yesterday we did some circles. Pi r squared. That's from your reference sheet, right? That's the area of a circle. area then is going to be 3.14. The radius in this case is 6 squared. We're rocking and rolling. Rest is just Aunt Sally time. Area then is 3.14 times 36. Careful there, right? 6 times 6 is 36. So 3.14 times 36, I got 113.04. I'm going to round to the nearest whole number again. So it's going to be 113. What? 113 chickens, horses, termites? What are we dealing with? Yes, miles squared, my bad. Miles squared. Are we done? No. What do we got to do, Rodriguez? You're there. Right. This becomes the denominator of the population density, right? So let's go. We have the people in the numerator. Now we have our denominator is 113. Let's do it. We get 1,200,000 divided by 113. Boy, this is a packed. This is like Hong Kong or something. This is a densely packed city. So I'm going to run the nearest whole number. I approximately, so I get 10,619.4, right? So I'm going to run the nearest whole number. So that's the whole number place. This is not 5 or bigger, so it's going to stay at 9. So the population density then, put PD, is 10,619 people / square mile. People per square mile. Let me put it down here again because I'm kind of cramming there. 10,119, was it 119? 619 people per, let me talk please, per square mile. That's way more than Pomona. Way more packed, whatever city this is, or area. That's a lot of heads per square mile. All right, here we go. Questions on that?